I'm coming. Here I am. Hello and welcome to the United Stand. I don't know why I'm happy. I'm not happy. Zlatan Ibrahimovic has been confirmed to leave Manchester United. We are back live. I did predict it with the Morata thing we did a couple of hours ago. Busy Friday afternoon in relation to Manchester United. If you missed the video a couple of hours ago, talking about Morata, agreeing personal terms. Apparently, I do think that will happen. But Zlatan Ibrahimovic has been released by Manchester United. It's not a shock. We did a video on it about 2 weeks ago, didn't we? And it is sad, but actually it's a brave decision from Manchester United. I must be honest. I know a little bit about knee injuries and how long they take. Right back to the early 90s when Shearer did his knee and he was out for a year. There's been massive advances in recoveries from all sorts of injuries, especially knee injuries. But I think people were getting a bit carried away with themselves when they saw Zlatan doing keep-ups off both feet and walking in a swimming pool. It actually isn't that unusual for somebody to be doing that so soon after the knee injury, but it's a long road to recovery. And I think there is a rumoured back burner to this Manchester United releasing Zlatan, and it's to do with the retained list that all Premier League clubs have to release their retained list for next season, and it's all the contracted players really, and those that are going to go, like your free agents like Terry, Chelsea, John Terry, and United have released Zlatan. There was an option of another year, but he has been released. But there is a rumour that he can stay as part of Manchester United's squad while he's recovering, and also there may be a deal further down the line. Let's not forget, it was only a couple of weeks ago when Zlatan, through his agent, said that he wants to stay at Manchester United. So it's 99,000, bloody hell, I've just looked at that. 1,000 away from 100,000, and we're going to need a bigger white bit, aren't we? But enough about that. So Zlatan could well stay at United to recover. He did want to stay at United, so it's a brave decision by Manchester United, because we know, we've seen firsthand last season, when Zlatan's fit, Mourinho plays him, doesn't want to sub him, plays him most games. So if there was any hint of Zlatan being fit any time around before Christmas, I think Mourinho might have been tempted. But at £300,000 a week at least, some think it's more than that, it's the right decision, and it's a brave decision to just say, look, economically, we may be very, very well off, but it is not in our interest to be paying somebody around £1.3 million a month for 4 or 5 months when they are going to be injured. That's what, £7 million. It's too much. So it's a very astute and brave decision from United, and to offer, hopefully, the fact that he can recover at United and there may be a deal in future is a good idea. But I do think, I'll come up with the harsh and then I'll do the nice, because I am a big Zlatan fan. But the harsh bit first is that Zlatan and his agent sort of walked into this a little bit similarly like they did at PSG. I don't know how many other times he's done it in his career, but I remember at PSG last year he was sort of flirting, and we were hearing about United, and he ended up coming to United, and it started about a month or two before his injury, didn't it? With, I don't know where I'll be next season, sort of looking at other options. I'm Zlatan, this, that and the other. That's great, and I think the arrogance of Zlatan makes him what he is, but it backfires when you go and get an injury like that, because you leave yourself. I'm sure a deal might have been offered to him in February time. He could have signed it maybe, but not anymore. He will go. It's the right decision. It is the right decision for many, many reasons, but I want to go back to the positive. Around this time last year, in fact, it would have been, the Euros were up and running, weren't they? I think exactly a year ago. The rumours about Zlatan to Manchester United were up and running for sure. And Sweden games, I was doing watch-alongs every one, reacting to it. Zlatan watch. A lot of criticism from some United fans saying he was past it, this, that and the other. He was playing in quite a poor Sweden side. And I and some people did say that he will score a goal every other game for Manchester United. And he certainly has done that. He's fulfilled what a lot of people didn't think he would do. I think United fans in the main were supportive of him as soon as we signed him. But there was a lot of people from a lot of other clubs who thought past it, waste of time, coming to the Premier League at such a late age in his career. And he proved them wrong. Yes, he missed chances. We know he missed chances, but he still scored 28 goals, and he maintains that goal every other game record that his career he's had throughout. And he came to a physical, fast Premier League, and he was impactful. Of course, he should have scored more than he did. I think he could have easily had 40 goals this season, even with the injury. I look at some of the chances he missed. I'll never forget that one against Burnley. before Christmas. I think it was October time, was it? First few minutes, we ended up 0-0, 1-on-1, and he missed it. And there were a few chances like that for Zlatan, but there were some great goals as well. If you think about the one against Everton, I know although Fellaini messed that up, that was a very good goal. But he's been a pleasure to have. I feel a year in the circumstances is long enough, but I would like, barring the injury, it would have been nice for it to be 2. But when you look at it, if you take away the emotion, because I like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, he's around, most of my footballing, watching it around, he's been around, one of the greats. And to have him at Manchester United was fantastic. And it does feel a bit short-lived, and it does feel like we did get robbed a bit at the end. But I think what I would say is, in relation to Rannoch Dash has made a contribution. He says, Zlatan proved what he wanted. He can play in any league and he's a world-class player. Personally, I feel sad about this, but we had to do this. Thank you for that, Rannoch. It's a great contribution. And I think it's a very, very good point as well, that it's exactly what many Manchester United fans will feel. And I can only repeat what I've said before. I think what frustrated me at times this season was that he never got substituted. What frustrated me a lot this season was we were very easy to play against in certain games. I mean, I've said it so many times, it's probably a little bit repetitive, but I think back to Anderlecht in the second leg when we got a good result in the first leg with the away goal. I think about Bournemouth at home around January time and others where they're playing high lines at Old Trafford and pressing us because they've got no fear of the ball behind because they know Zlatan's not quick enough. And that limited us. And we only changed it when Zlatan got injured, and suddenly we were causing teams more problems with our pace. Even in the Europa League final, Rashford didn't have a good game, but you can guarantee Ajax were very worried about the pace. If you put Zlatan into that game, I think we would have been pressed a hell of a lot higher, and it would have suited Ajax a lot more, and he would have played in that game. So I think that's not Zlatan's fault. I think in hindsight, we got away with it last season. We certainly did. And Zlatan was very, very effective. But I think in relation to Mourinho, I think his love for Zlatan did at times cost us a little bit because it made us too easy to play. What I would have liked to have seen was maybe Zlatan and Rashford being used a little bit more, just to stretch teams a little bit. Because there were other games, flip side. Remember West Brom, just after the international break, we drew with Everton and West Brom. West Brom, we just couldn't break them down, and we had Rashford because Zlatan was suspended. And that sort of game against a side that's going to sit and park the bus, Zlatan's perfect. 6'5", powerful, put some crosses into the box, and he'll cause problems. And I don't think we did that enough as well, and I must defend him. We didn't put enough crosses, good quality crosses into the box for what we had in Zlatan. I really enjoyed having a typical strong number 9 who bullied defenders as much as they tried to bully him, who was effective in the air, who could hold the ball up and was very strong. I enjoyed that. I think the lack of pace made us we just needed to mix it up a little bit. And I look back to the start of the season, and there was the Community Shield goal where he beat Wes Morgan and Huth to head one home from a cross. And then Southampton, we were linked to Jose Fonte at the time. He put him and the ball in the back of the net from a cross. But it didn't happen enough. It didn't happen enough through the season. And I think that was one of the shames as well. I mean, again, more opportunities for Zlatan to have scored goals. We didn't put enough quality crosses into the box for what Zlatan was. So I wouldn't blame him. He doesn't pick the team. And I think as well, you've got to, he's going to go, and he goes with best wishes. You can't call him a great or anything like that because he wasn't here long enough, but he was certainly a bit like, we've had players who've been here for a season. I mean, he's done more than Henrik Larsson did when he came down from Celtic, but again, he's somebody that we'll look on with fondness, and he had a very good season at United. The free kicks were frustrating. Why he took free kicks, I don't know, but to be fair, corners are worse than free kicks, so we'll let him off of that, and that wasn't his fault. But yeah, I am sad to see him go. I think one of the important things I would say is that he is gone, and it is the right thing to do because of the injury, and that is sad. I wouldn't have minded him staying if we were going to buy another striker and we could mix it up a bit. Whether he'd been happy with that or not, I don't know. But I think that the thing I would say about it is that what we will miss, and we need to be very, very careful about next season, is leadership. You listen to people like Rashford and Lingard and Herrera and Valencia, and they're all through, and Pogba, and all through the season. I mean, Pogba only said yesterday, he's come out with a couple of pearlies. He said Mourinho's still the special one, and Zlatan will come back from his injury as good as he was. I don't know whether Pogba's suddenly spent about 8 years at university and passed his exams as a doctor. But I mean, Zlatan is a bit of a freak of science. He's very fit for a 35-year-old, but it was the right decision by Manchester United. But the leadership is what I was going to say is a big issue that we're going to lose. Whatever people say about Rooney, and Ranuk Dash has made another contribution. He says, if he was not injured, I would have offered him a new deal, or was it about his style of play? Would you have offered him a new deal, or was it his style of play? Well, I think I covered that, Ranuk. I would have kept him as long as we'd been rotating him a bit, using him in the games where he's good, but where the teams where we needed a bit of pace because they're playing a high line, that would have caused us the same problems as last season. I think Mourinho just was a bit obsessed with Zlatan, which isn't a bad thing most of the time, but it was when teams played a high line. But the leadership is important, because in relation to the leadership, I think we can all sit on the same page and say it's not been the best 3 years for Wayne Rooney as Manchester United captain, and he may be a great influence around the dressing room because of what he's achieved in the past, but the last 3 years haven't been that great, and United have lacked leaders. I think this season we've improved a lot because Herrera's been given a chance, and I think he leads by example. I think Pogba will get better, but Zlatan he's an enigma, he is a legend of the game, and he's a winner, and I think that into our squad, whatever about the chances he missed and whatever you think about Zlatan, the actual personality and what he was really, really important to our season last year. Very, very important. I mean, even if you look at the Europa League final when he's on his crutches, he enjoyed it. I think he enjoyed his time at United, and to win his first European trophy, which is amazing in his whole career, he definitely enjoyed it. So that leadership is gone, and that does concern me a little bit about next season. It's why it's very, very important that we retain people like David De Gea, that people like Ander Herrera and Pogba take the good season they've had and improve on it next year, because the younger players and the new signings are going to have to learn the United way from them, and Juan Mata and people like that. Because losing Rooney, whatever you think about that, that has to happen. But losing Zlatan, he performed on the pitch in the majority, and he led off the pitch and on the pitch, and that is hard. That is hard. I mean, let's not think about when Sir Alex Ferguson left, but you know, we lost Giggs, we lost Vidic, we lost Ferdinand, we lost Scholes, we lost Evra in a very short period of time. I think there was more as well. I mean, even people like Darren Fletcher. These are people who know the club inside out, who are leaders on the pitch, who've been there and they've done it. And when we lost all that, we did lose a lot. And we thought people like Rooney would step up, but they didn't. So we've had Zlatan as that leader this year, and now we won't have it. And we're going to be very lucky if we can replace that in a signing. I mean, I look at the players that we're linked to. Morata is experienced for somebody in his early to mid-20s. He is experienced. I don't know what he is as a leader. Perisic, again, mid to late 20s, so he's experienced. I don't know what he's like as a leader. Fabinho is quite young if we get hold of him. Lindelof, quite young if we get hold of him. So we're very reliant on people like I say, Herrera, Pogba, Bailly. They've got to step up. De Gea, hopefully if he stays, Juan Mata, Valencia. We've got the players, but the leadership falls onto their shoulders next season, and hopefully that they can step up to it. So in general, I'm going to take some of your comments. Start telling me what you think about Zlatan, how you'll remember him, what's been your favourite moment of the season, because I have been very impressed by what he's done. I think it is the right decision for Manchester United, but you can't help feeling a bit sad about it. And I think it's a bit unfortunate the way it's fallen, that we're talking about Morata coming in on the same day that we know that Zlatan's effectively gone. Jerry Kelleher 90 says, all the best Zlatan, you brought a swagger back to United and you played your part in a season where we found our feet again. Yes, very good point, Jerry. Waze Khan says, will we get both Morata and Belotti? I don't think we will. One Swede out and another Swede in, says Kieran 11, obviously alluding to Lindelof there. Do you think Morata can replace Zlatan, says Ayo? You know what? I think he can. I think if you look at Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Alvaro Morata and you judge them on their prime, then Zlatan is streets ahead of Morata. But we got Zlatan at 35, where the legs, the pace, he never had loads of pace anyway, but that was his big weakness. Everything else he was great at, apart from free kicks. Morata is quicker, Morata is good in the air, and Morata can hold the ball up, and Morata can bring others into the game as well. So a 23, 24-year-old Morata against the 35, 36 Zlatan, hopefully, if we get the potential that Mourinho sees in Morata, there won't be that much of a difference. But the leadership we will miss. We will definitely miss that. De Gea for captain, says Football 3704. It's going to be interesting who the captain is. Lorenzo van Matterhorn has made a contribution. He says, spot on Mark. He didn't commit to us when we gave him the chance. And whilst it's sad he got injured, the fact he didn't commit backfired. To be honest, I can't say it, and it's unfair to say it, but I remember speaking on the United stand at the time when he was talking. There was rumours that he might be off in the summer when he was fit, and I wouldn't say with any confidence that he would have stayed. If he'd stayed fit and won the Europa League, if I was a betting man, I would have said he would have left. So maybe Manchester United thought that as well. I don't know. King Zaza DK says it'll be interesting if Morata is going to be Man United's main striker next year. I think he will be, and if we can get the deal done with Real Madrid, and a lot of people are saying that Morata is a good replacement. Gary Queck says Rashford or Morata. It's got to be Morata. He's got the more experience at the moment. Rashford will be a fantastic striker for United, but I still think he's on an upward curve, and I think that year he's had under Zlatan will do him the world of good, and Morata is about 4 or 5 years older than him, so it's another experienced striker that he can learn from, and that's what Rashford needs to do. I think the Europa League final, we saw exactly what Rashford's about sometimes. When it doesn't work out and he has a bad game, you've got all the efforts, but he's still got bits to learn, and I wouldn't be happy having him as our first choice number 9 next season playing 60 games. I still think he's got a lot more to learn, but he's a fantastic player. Jack Stubbings says he came, he delivered, he left. I like that one. And Herrera for captain says Prash. And what about Mbappe, says Argent Latifi. I think the situation with Mbappe is that Mourinho really wants him. He is obsessed with him, like Demarcio says. He'd love to sign him, but what we're hearing is that Mbappe would prefer Real Madrid, and there's a chance that he probably won't leave Monaco anyway. So I think that's the big deal we're trying to do, but we've got to be realistic as well. Unfortunately, Zlatan is injured right now, says Alaladud. Breaking news with that. I'm being facetious, but no, yeah, we know he is. And the best part about Zlatan was his leadership and link-up play. Sadly, having no pace, his finishing had to be perfect, and it wasn't, says Anu Chikagara, which is good and spot on. But Reza Khan says it's a sad, realistic day. Hope we sign him back in January for his experience. Well, that'd be interesting. Maybe get him for the last few months. It's exactly what we did with the player as mentioned before, with Henrik Larsson, another Swede that we got him from Celtic from January. It wasn't until the end of the season because he was I think he was an MLSer at the time. But he got him from January to about March, and it was very effective. And that could be an interesting option to get Zlatan in for the last few. Maybe come win the Champions League. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? And Jevon Vries, and I think he's been a bit sarcastic, says, let's thank Zlatan for his expensive service. He was expensive, of course he was. There's rumours he was on £350,000 a week. Whatever he was on, it was a lot of money, but we must never forget he cost nothing. And even at 35, if he'd have been under contract at PSG, the goals he was scoring, I think he might have been 10 million. So we got him for nothing, and he basically got paid a lot of money for it, which, to be honest, that's how it should be. That's how it should be. James Ryan says, Mark, why aren't you at work? Well, I'm not mumbling because I'm nervous. My wife is due very, very soon, so I've got leave and stuff to sort out as well. So, but it's gone 4 o'clock anyway. I'd normally be back by now. Thanks, everybody. So Zlatan leaves Manchester United. A big day today. If you were at work earlier, make sure you watch our Morata video that I did a couple of hours ago. Get yourself up to date with that. This morning at the 7 AM show was about Belotti and the offer on that. So we put 3 videos up today. All of them pretty spot on in relation to transfer news, not speculation, spot on. So if you've not seen them, give them a watch. A few people saying Carrick for captain. He won't play enough games, but I think he might be club captain if Rooney goes. I mean, Rooney's got to go, hasn't he? Hopefully that's going to get announced at some point. And I don't like being harsh about it, but it's just not good enough anymore. So he's got to go. But Zlatan going, if Rooney goes as well, that would leave us with Rashford, potentially Martial, potentially Morata, 3 strikers. I still think we need another one. I'd bring Hernandez back. I mean, I'd like to get Belotti, but that would be a problem. Belotti, Morata, Rashford. You can't play all of them. But Belotti did used to be a winger. So you never know. Rotation, width and everything like that. Thanks everyone for watching. We will, if my wife doesn't go into labour, we'll be back at 8:30 tonight. I'm going to revisit the Skype show that didn't go as smooth as it should have done last night. So we'll get your calls on. Lots to talk about today. Belotti offer, which was sort of late last night. Morata deal nearly being done. Zlatan out the door. Rooney rumour that he wants to stay and just sit on the bench and earn his wage because Everton can't afford him and he don't want to go to China. And God knows whatever else is happening in relation to Manchester United. It's a busy Friday when we all want to be winding down, but we never stop on the United stand. Thanks everyone for getting involved as per usual. And another exciting thing to end on is we've gone past 99,000 subscribers on this video. 99 is a big year for Manchester United, and it's a big number. And it's a big number, 99,000 subscribers, but there's a bigger one. There's a bigger one. We're getting I'm getting excited. We're getting close to 100,000. If you are new, make sure you subscribe. If you have subscribed, bottom right hand corner, make sure you click the bell for the live notification so you know when we're going live, because we're going live quite a lot. So you want to get that notification. But if you know United fans who want to get in and you think they'd be interested in United stand, please just let them know. They might subscribe and we might get there quicker. We've got a lot of planned if we get there. Thanks everyone for watching. I will be back at 8:30 unless something else happens before. Zoka's Wrath says 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. That number at the bottom is our subscriber count at the moment. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all soon. Remember to drop a like on the video as well if you're enjoying the content. I'm certainly enjoying some positive news for a bit. Not the Zlatan thing, but others. Morata, hopefully, and Belotti. We'll see what happens, where it goes with that. But King Zaza says you should take a bit of time out if your wife's giving birth during the football break. Oh yeah. This time of the year is busier than when the season's on. It's mad. And I'll never take a time out of football. I can't help myself. Thanks for all the congratulations from everybody. I'll see you at 8:30, and I will speak to you all at 8:30, hopefully. And yeah, lots to catch up of. And if you've missed videos on the United stand today, there's a Morata one, there's a Belotti one, Zlatan one. So lots to keep up to date with. I'll speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching.